understand that it's difficult to come up with your own drawings without reference, having dynamic poses from scratch. But if you guys have seen my channel, if you've read my comic Apple Black, and you've ever wondered how I come up with the poses, this is the video for you. Today we're going to go over how I come up with my dynamic poses for whatever I'm illustrating, and I'll give examples as we go through each step and my thought process throughout. But first, I partnered up with Surfshark to bring this video to you. Surfshark is a VPN. It's fast and easy to use as you connect to the server that offers the best speed by default. Packed with features beyond the basics, it's easy to install, and you can run it on unlimited devices on a single subscription. The internet's crazy right now, so you definitely want to be protected. Surfshark is a VPN that can definitely do that. It secures your data with industry-leading measures using uncrackable encryptions and the most secure VPN protocols. So browse the internet safe and in style, using fast servers from whatever country you see fit. An example of that would be if you go on the UK server for Netflix, you can only get the live action Bleach. But if you switch to a US server, the Bleach live action is there, the Bleach anime is there, and 2 Bleach movies, and then some. Every country is different with their different catalogs, and you can switch servers to just access all of that content. 24-hour customer service, they don't keep your data, a 30-day money-back guarantee, risk-free. So if you want to support the channel and get the Surfshark VPN, enter the promo code WHYTMANGA and use my link in the description for 83% off and 3 extra months for free. You're welcome. Now back in the video, let's start with the first example. So first I like to start with the head, a simple oval, just to let me know where the positioning is. I do the same thing for literally all the other parts of the body, like just simple shapes to let me know what the positioning of the body parts are. Key things that I keep in mind are things like foreshortening and perspective. Let's say we're drawing somebody who's flying kind of at us, but we're also seeing slightly from beneath. I have this line that can represent, say, the spine, and then once I'm done with one swift motion, then maybe another one for the feet, and it curving like this. So draw the rest of the body. I like to break it down like a mannequin. You want to think in layers. You don't want to overburden your brain and be thinking of all the body parts at once, but I am thinking of a couple things. So here I'm doing the torso, and I know as I'm drawing in this direction, things are kind of getting smaller and smaller. I know the neck, we'll see a little bit of the neck like so. We'll also see the character from underneath a little bit. If I put the cross guidelines for the face, it'll be something like this. If we look at a face head on, imagine it kind of like so, right? If we're looking from underneath a little bit, it'll be curved like this. And then if we're looking from above, it'll be the other way. Then you have ears over here, ears over here. I have videos that go into more detail. That's the basic gist for now. I have it not just from beneath, but also looking in this direction a little bit. So I have the torso, just let me know where, lets me know where that is, and I'm focusing more so on the chest area. Then I have, the shoulder blade area right there, and all of these are going to be blocked a little bit by the character's head. So I draw the torso first with the chest, it's split in two, and then we're not going to see much of what's left in the ab area over here because it's going to be blocked as well. Obliques will be over here in this area. So it's also good to have a good understanding of how the body looks normally before you can start breaking them down like this. And then now we see the other line kind of going like this, line of action. And let's say I have the legs going like so. Now remember, it gets smaller the further back it goes. First part of the legs, still getting smaller. I'm drawing the other parts of the legs, and I'm keeping in mind how the legs are kind of curving, and then I draw feet over there. So things are getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Your knee, even the leg, let's say this is the leg right here, and that's where the feet is, and this is the knee. If we did what we did with the faces, it'll then be curving like that, and the knee will kind of be like this, and then if it's doing the opposite, kind of be like so, and the feet will be the biggest, right? So I'm keeping that type of thinking going on in my head. So there are a lot of things going on, but you do the best you can to simplify it as much as you can when you're doing the drawing, because you don't want to be thinking about that as well as, say, the character's clothing or how they look or their expressions or the hair motion, all of that. You can think of all of those in steps, especially if you want to make it easier for yourself. You can always improve over time and be able to process all of it at once, but for now you don't need all that. And the back of the legs, like the character's calves, even there's a little bit of foreshortening going on there, so even if the knee is over here, I'm putting it back a little bit. So like I said, you want a good understanding of the human body. And then maybe this leg, I'm pulling it forward towards us a little bit. A little more interesting. And so because it's bent, like so. Because it's bent like so, the leg is blocked, so there is foreshortening happening there. And usually when it's bent like this, you know, we don't get to see much of the other leg. Maybe we see a little bit of the cows on the side, that's like right there. And then we see the top of the feet, which would be bigger than the other one because it's closer to us. Remember, it gets smaller the further back we go. Sometimes the way you move parts of the body can also shift some of the muscles, so keep that in mind as well. But the hands, say we want them to be like so. Draw the forearm. It's slowly getting bigger as well as we move forward. And then I think this part should be a little shorter because it will be blocked by the forearm, so I can actually put that down. Right, we'll see less of the biceps and more of the forearms and a little bit of the shoulder area. You can break some parts into weird boxes if it helps you see it better. That's what I do sometimes. And then the other arm, we can also do some foreshortening here. See the top of the arm right there, and maybe the rest of it is a little blocked, so there's some foreshortening happening. And then you can jump to the fist and kind of connect the dots if it makes the drawing easier to kind of read. And maybe I'll do a different hand pose for this. Now, because this arm is going forward, like I said, it will make some changes. So the way we did the shoulder lines right here, it would actually change this one to be more like so. And this chest will actually come up a little higher. And then this part would connect like so. It will change. So when you move parts of the body, other parts of the bodies change a little bit. So we're keeping all of that in mind. Since this arm is down, this one will be a little straighter. And then you can kind of connect them. Now I'm just drawing the muscles and drawing the rest of it. Changes anywhere where I see appropriate. As a mannequin, we have what we need. Now we're going in with more details. I have videos teaching how to draw a face. Let's turn this to Superman. Why not? When last I drew Superman? It's been a hot minute. We'll see less of the other ear. Again, some more foreshortening happening. There'll still be some shading underneath the neck. And one thing I would say sometimes is to not be afraid of making mistakes when you're doing these sketches. Because if something looks off, you can always erase if you're working traditionally, or if you're working digitally, you can just make appropriate adjustments. So here, I feel like we will see more of his neck because we're looking at him from below. The shoulder wouldn't be that high up. It's usually that high up when we're seeing from above. So it looks something more like so. Superman, so his neck is much thicker because all them muscles. Feels better. Now I'm just adding in details since I figured out the pose. And what you can do is just view this as your first initial rough sketch, and then the next you go in with more details. Here I'm actually skipping a step, just going in with the clothing, but like I said, normally you can take your time with these. Can I draw Superman with that reference? I think so. His chest maybe is a little wider. I decided not to show the other ears or show even less because of the angle we're looking at the character from. Sometimes a little shading helps sell that it's further back. Usually you shade in the direction of the motion, unless you're shading full black. There you have it. Let's see if we can do another one. The head, where it's facing, kind of like a spine a little bit. The shoulders, where the waist is, and then I figure everything else out. I would go further down with the line of action to figure out where the weight is, and how his leg is positioned and all that. Maybe Iron Man this time. It's kind of like stick figures, but not exactly. Again, finishing with the torso. Figuring out the chest now. What's he doing with his fingers? Again, have a good understanding of hands, fingers, and all of that. Again, I don't think I've ever drawn Iron Man. So I'll give myself a little more leeway here. Reactor thing is going to be somewhere here. What's the shape of the reactor thing? I don't know. Just freestyling a suit right now. Yeah, that's my Iron Man suit. So remember here, it's doing a little different because now the perspective is kind of going up. So everything kind of becomes a little bigger as we go down. Now if I were to do one more, again, getting the feel of where the character is going to be looking. And then the spine is kind of like this. Have the rest of the shoulder kind of like so. And maybe he's about to punch, so I know where his hand is. The leg could be doing almost whatever. And one right there, and the other is so far behind that we don't see much of it except for the feet down there. Here, the other arm can be so far back. Maybe let's switch it up a little. So now with this drawing, just like this, I kind of know what I'm doing. So it's the same thing. Head, figure out where the spine is, where the head is facing, and then what the rest of the body is doing in just mannequin form. And then once you're done figuring all of that out, keeping in mind your knowledge of anatomy, as well as perspective and foreshortening, you can almost do anything you want. Here, so we have the nose. We're looking from above a little bit, so the nose is going to block a little bit of the mouth. The character is going to be yelling. We'll see not too much of his jaw. Some perspective and foreshortening happening, so we're not going to see too much of it. Now this is the part of the illustration where I just keep adding things, altering things, making adjustments here and there. I could keep going on. I think ultimately at the end, I might still tweak things about the shoulders, but overall you kind of get the vibe that I'm going for. So you spend a lot of time looking at the drawing to make sure everything is right. There's some tricks that some artists do where they flip the drawing if you're working digitally. It's easy to spot new errors with the drawing because once you can spot errors in your drawing, which comes from your understanding of the actual structure, you're definitely on the right path. After that, I add some little things here and there that also help make the drawing feel a lot more dynamic, especially if you're going for that comic aesthetic. Here I'm going with more of a Japanese aesthetic, so I have some speed lines, sound effects, a speech bubble at the top right, some line variation with the lines where we see the rim in thicker lines, and then the character in thinner lines where things that are closer to us are in thicker lines, and things that are further away have thinner and thinner lines. These are all things that maybe we can address in a separate video. But for this one with the pose, this is kind of like my approach. Again, this drawing here is not perfect, but y'all get the gist. And there you go. Add more details and more rendering to this drawing. The video's over. For those who made it to the end of this video, the 2.5 of y'all, I appreciate you a great deal. If you guys want more videos like these and you have specific poses in mind that you want me to address, I'll be happy to make a video about those and show you my approach. So leave that along with questions you may have in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video. Go smash that subscribe button, turn on all notifications, and hit that bell so you stay notified each time I upload absolutely anything. Links to my social media also in the description. Again, shout out to Surfsharks for helping me bring this video to you guys. Don't forget to use my link in the description. You can also check out other videos on the channel. And that's it. It's Whyt Manga, and I'm Audi 9000.